Today I'm going to be showing you how to set up the tractor functions on the C1000 display of the MT500D and the MT600D tractors. So when we get the screen open here, you're going to see you're going to have 5 different options. I want to go into the tractor. So to select that, I'm going to go ahead and use my encoder. I'm going to illuminate that display, and I'm going to press in on my encoder, bring open my tractor functions. Right now you can see on the top, you'll have your time. You also have a temperature reading. You can see here, here's your miles an hour, your current engine RPM, your A and B engine speeds, your PTO RPM, so that's the speed on the shaft of the PTO, your percent slip, and then your SV1 and SV2 speeds. On the left side here, you can see you have your tractor icon, you have your task icon, and then your video. So at this point, if you wanted to switch between your task and your video, you could by selecting these buttons and then going back to your tractor by simply hitting the top icon. Now to change any of your functions of your work screen, so your work screen means you have 2 screens that you can see all the time. To change what you want to see there, what you'll need to do is use your encoder. You can see that it highlights it black, and then select in on the encoder. Now when you select in on the encoder, you're going to get many different options. The first is transmission, the next is power management, headland management, hydraulics, your instant and average readings from the tractor, your efficiency, a mapping function, engine, 3-point hitch. If you do have a front 3-point hitch, that will be there. And then we do not use this last function. As far as general and normal tractor operation, we're not going to use these 4 options here. So what I want to show you first is our power management and transmission functions. And we're going to tie those together. So if I go into my transmission, I select that. Now you can see that I have my transmission on the top. Now to make any changes to your transmission, you're always going to use on any of these selectors, you're going to use the selector or the soft key corresponding to the yellow icon. So I'm going to go ahead and hit my transmission icon. Now in here you can set different functions for the CVT. The first is the reversion responsiveness. So what this allows it to do and tell the CVT is when I use my left-hand reverser, how fast it reacts when you shuttle forward and backward. We usually like to keep that on 2. The SV responsiveness, this is going to be how fast when you engage SV1 or SV2, it reacts and picks up to that desired speed. So if I had my SV1 set at 5, that would be how fast it gets up to that 5 miles an hour if I say I had it at 2 or 3 miles an hour. So that's how fast it reacts to get up to that desired speed. The next is the pedal responsiveness. That's going to be how fast the pedal reacts. And on both our SV responsiveness and pedal responsiveness, we like to have those set normally at 2. If you do want them to adjust faster or slower, you can bring that, and the scale is 1 to 4. So 2 is kind of right in the middle. The road supervisor, we like to have that set at about 5%. The lower that number, and the scale is from 1 to 30%, the lower the number, so if I had it at 1% and I was driving down the road, at 1% the engine speed is going to pick up faster to keep that desired road speed. So if I was shooting for 25 miles an hour down the road, coming up a hill, the tractor started slowing down, what it would do is speed up the engine to compensate for ground speed. The PTO supervisor acts the same way. So at 5%, what that's going to allow us to do is, if you do have a heavy load on the PTO, it's going to allow the engine to pick up RPM to keep the shaft speed at the desired speed that you have set. So whether you have a 1000 or 540, that's going to allow that engine speed to pick up faster to keep that desired speed on the shaft. To make any changes on these, you're just going to use your encoder. So if I want to make a change on my SV responsiveness, I'm going to go ahead and select in on it, and then you can see you can change that. But we like to keep that at about 2 to start. So that is the transmission settings. To get out of that, you're going to go ahead and hit escape. Now the other one I want to show you with the CVT is power management. Transmission and power management work together. So we're going to go to power management. Now on the power management, you can see your lower limit RPM, your high limit RPM, and then your trigger. To change that, what you're going to do is hit your soft key corresponding to that, corresponding to the power management, the yellow icon. And now you can set your minimum idle, your max idle. And what we like to always do for tractors, say that's going to be planting or tillage, you're going to want that max and min to be at the max. So 2260. Go ahead and hit your check. And then your 850, that'll be the low end of your power management. Now say you were using a loader and you needed a higher engine RPM so that you had consistent hydraulic flow when you're using a loader, you might want to put that minimum idle at about 1250 to 1300 RPMs. Now the trigger, you're always going to want to have it to be the clock. And what that'll allow it to do is when you hit the power management button on the armrest, that is going to allow power management to turn on. So once we've got that clock, we're going to go ahead and hit our check, and now we've got that selected. Once you're done with that, go ahead and hit escape. And at this point you have your transmission set to the current settings of what we recommend.